RoadCraft hides insane details that most players never notice, like fully animated drivetrains that serve no gameplay purpose but exist because the devs are obsessed with realism. Wait until you see what's happening under the hood. Literally every component moves exactly like it should. Today I'm showing you 20 ridiculous details that prove RoadCraft's developers cared way more than they needed to, and we get into why they even bothered. Detail number 1. Dirt builds up dynamically based on terrain and movement. Dirt does not simply accumulate on your vehicle, it's a dynamic system. It depends on the terrain you drive on, your speed and how much dirt you actually kick up. Even the weather influences this, but more on that later. Also depends on the type of terrain you're driving on that will dictate what dirt accumulates on your vehicle. Certain sections of your vehicle can accumulate dirt independently of others. This is just such a fantastic system. I know it's just, well, dirt, but it's cool dirt. What am I saying? Anyways, detail number 2. Water drains off the vehicle. After driving through deep water, you can actually see water draining and running off the body. It reinforces the fact that you waded through really deep water, and given enough time, it will actually dry up. A nice touch that makes exits from lakes and rivers feel way more grounded. Detail number 3. There's a day cycle. If you remembered my previous video, some of us were stunned to know there is no day-night cycle. Well, we have a day cycle. While there's no full day-night system, there is a dynamic day cycle. The sun moves across the sky, casting shadows and changing the lighting. It gives you a nice sense of time passing and makes for some beautiful visuals depending on the time of day. If it would stop raining all the time, maybe I could get a better time lapse for you. I mean, didn't they fix this? I had to go to one of the African maps to get an actual time lapse going. Detail number 4. Props and map objects. The map is full of props, things like drills, compressors, storage crates and random equipment scattered around. They're not interactable, but they add a lot of personality to the world and make it feel like there was some life here. Well, before we had all these crazy disasters. Some of these objects have unnecessarily high levels of detail. Not that I'm complaining, but it's like they knew I was going to try to see if this power extension reel would actually spin. And yes, it actually does. Most of the props are physics enabled, even the wheels and moving components on this concrete mixer. I actually wasted a lot of time poking at props, more than I'm willing to admit. Detail number 5. Stored resources are visible in the yard. When you drop off materials like beams, pipes or concrete slabs, they're actually shown piling up in your storage yard, instead of just numbers increasing in a menu. You can actually see the amount physically grow. Pretty cool, it helps make your progress feel more real. Detail number 6. Sand falls out using physics. If you tilt your dump bed and drive forward, the sand falls out naturally due to inertia and gravity. The game just lets physics do the job, which feels satisfying and believable. And also incredibly frustrating. Does anyone else have a problem with this freaking thing? Gosh, if you accidentally look at it, it spills sand. Detail number 7. Rain cleans your vehicle. Rain doesn't just exit the atmosphere to annoy you with unrelenting frequency. It actively washes dirt and grime off your vehicle and tires. Over time, your truck gets cleaner as the rain continues. You know, while I've been recording this is all that's been playing in my head. But you know what? I don't care. Moving on. Detail number 8. Large trees can be pushed over. You can push over trees with your vehicle, as you should know by now, and they react realistically. The whole process feels physical, like the tree has actual weight and resistance before it falls. Except for the big ones. I tried. Many times. It's still a fun and natural part of exploring the map. Detail number 9. Sand continues to shift on slopes. When you dump sand on a slope, it doesn't just sit there. If the incline is right, the sand will continue to shift and roll down over time. It behaves like a loose material should, not just like a static mesh or texture. Detail number 10. Wheels get dirty in detailed ways. Now this is one of my favorite details. I don't know why, probably because I'm weird, but your tires get dirty based on where you've driven. But it's not just a single texture slapped on. Different parts of an individual wheel dynamically get dirt depending on contact and terrain. It's a level of detail you don't see in many other games. Detail number 11, animated interiors. Vehicle interiors are animated with working parts like gear levers and switches. You'll also notice that rusted or older vehicles have a more worn out or dirty interior, while newer ones are clean and shiny. It's a subtle touch, but it adds variety. I was really surprised by the level of detail in the interiors of the various vehicles. Each is unique and believable, and if you look really close, you will see a plug. Moving on, detail number 12, leaves fall when you hit the trees. If you bump into a tree, you will see some leaf particles fall off, and they will actually fall in the direction of the wind. It's a nice subtle touch that adds to the interaction. This is just filler, to be honest, but it's a nice touch nonetheless. Detail number 13, the cable layer actually digs into the ground. When using the cable layer, the digging mechanism wheel thingy actually creates a hole in the terrain that then closes up behind the machine. No joke, look, it's a hole. I don't know what else to say here. Anyway, detail number 14, drivetrain and suspension are animated. Okay, jokes aside, this is another one of my favorite details. You can actually watch the drivetrain, prop shaft, suspension and all the linkages move as the vehicle operates. Everything is fully animated and reacts as it should. No shortcuts, no static parts. What makes this detail so impressive is that the game doesn't just move the vehicle in the direction of your input, it shows how it's done. The visual connection between the throttle input, transfer case, drivetrain movement and suspension response creates this beautiful mechanical rhythm. Yes, they're technically just animations, but a ton of thought clearly went into how each vehicle tells its own little story of how it operates. It's this kind of detail many players might not even notice, and Saber could have easily skipped it, but they didn't, and for nerds like me, this stuff is absolute gold. But why did Saber go through all this effort for details most players will never notice? Understanding this reveals what separates truly great games from good ones. We'll get to that shortly. Detail number 15, extra moving objects inside cabs. Some vehicles have extra animated items in the cabin like water bottles, flasks, mirrors and sun visors. They react to movement and give the interior more life and motion as you drive. Again, a lot of people will never even know these things exist, but Saber still took the time to model all these little details. Now please take the time and fix this thing. Detail number 16, grass and vegetation get removed when you drive over it. So when you drive over grassy areas, the vegetation is actually torn up and removed, not just flattened. This depends on the terrain of course, but it leaves a visible path behind your tires that shows where you've been. Detail number 17, water changes color with sand. When sand gets dumped into water, the water turns brown and murky as it spreads and mixes naturally, making the experience more believable. Such a nice touch. Sorry, I don't have any jokes about this one. Detail number 18, vehicles get wet and dry. Drive through water or wait in the rain, and your vehicle gets visibly wet. Over time, the moisture fades as the vehicle dries out. It's a gradual process that adds realism and immersion. This was also super annoying to get footage of, not just because it's hard to see sometimes, but also because it never stops frickin' raining. Well, it does, sometimes, but then it just starts again. Moving on. Detail number 19, some objects break when driven over. Not everything in this world is indestructible. Drive over certain smaller props and they break or collapse. It's a nice way to show that the environment isn't just decorative. Detail number 20, tires have soft body physics. Your tires flex and deform depending on the surface and load. It's not extreme, but you'll notice a slight squish or bulge as you drive, especially over uneven terrain. It adds a lot to the overall sense of weight and realism. There are very few games that nail this. On the top of my head, I can only name Saber's games, BeamNG, and Farming Sim. I can't think of anything else. But why did they include all this detail and even more? I'll tell you why. Because they can, but also because they care. This level of detail is a direct reflection of passion. Even if you didn't notice these things the same way I did, take them away and the game just wouldn't feel as appealing as it does now. A bit of a different, more lighter-hearted tone for this video. Had to try to make something that most people find boring a little bit less boring, even though I love all these small details. Quick side note, if this level of detail excites you as it does me, my video on Star Rupture is worth watching. The devs have the same obsession with quality we've seen here. Links are coming up at the end. It's not just a plug, it's actually really good. Anyway, if you enjoyed this, consider a like and a sub, and I'll see you in the next one.